And I think it'll be probably a bit like, hopefully, we're all saying, giving it that one. Let's hope it's a bit like the Pakistan game at the MCG, really tight, goes down to the wire, massive entertainment, and everyone a little bit on the edge of their seats going,
welcome to Havells Glamtubes presents Sportskeeda Match Ki Baat. I am joined by the very flamboyant and the gentleman known for his energetic commentary, Danny Morrison. Welcome, Danny.
Yashi, good to see you. How are you?
I'm good, Danny. How are you doing?
Yeah, look, I'm loving being involved here in Australia with this T20 World Cup. Very exciting.
Danny, you're in Australia where this big ticket sporting contest is taking place. Of course, we'll talk about India versus Netherlands game where India won by 56 runs. Danny, did you watch the game? What are your thoughts?
I really enjoyed in terms of watching a bit of Rohit play with Virat Kohli. KL missed out. I was also very fascinated, Yashi, to see young Tim Pringle bowl as left-arm orthodox because, of course, I played with his father, Chris Pringle, in the early 90s for New Zealand. So, again, it was an opportunity for the Dutch to say, hey, look, we're playing against the big boys and we've got nothing to lose and we're obviously massive underdogs. And, look, for a little bit, they were in there for a bit and they showed some glimpses. But, always going to be challenging. And you're up against Virat Kohli and then Sky did his thing at the end. So, always going to be tough. And you post 179, 180 to win. Again, for the Dutch, who really are sort of quite part-time amateurs versus fully blown superstars of India. But they would have loved it. You could see the Dutch relishing that opportunity. But again, was always going to be the power and the might of particularly that India top order getting stuck in. And they did. And I think that'll please Rahul Dravid, the coach, and everyone concerned. And the bowlers getting out and doing their thing and everyone playing their part, moving deeper into this World Cup is very important.
We spoke about Virat Kohli, Rohit Sharma, but we also have to talk about the standard performance by Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Danny. His performance, if I tell you his numbers, he bowled 3 overs, gave only 9 runs and took 2 wickets. What a performance by this guy.
Well, the brilliance about Bhuvi, as we can all appreciate, he bowls in swingers and then gets that little bit out. But his big stock one is back into right-handers and across the lefties. And once again, I think it shows the experience and, of course, playing in a certain IPL every year bodes well for the rest of those guys. You think about Mohammad Shami with his injuries, getting COVID, and then, being more of a reserve-type player. Bumrah gets injured, can't even tour to the World Cup. And then you get Arshdeep Singh and those guys as well. And I think someone like Bhuvi, who helps lead the pack with Mohammad Shami, showed his class, what he's about with swinging the ball early and getting people out. And that's key for India to keep doing well, trying to go right deep to the end of the tournament.
But Danny, on the other hand, we're still missing a big innings by KL Rahul. He could only put up 9 runs against Netherlands, and this has been a consistent pattern in the last few innings he's played. Where is he going wrong?
Well, I think you also, when you're trying to be aggressive like that, and maybe partly his role is to take some pressure off the captain, and then perhaps, that's the strategy where they'll say, look, I'll take on so-and-so, these matchups here, I'm going to go big and take it on. And sometimes you can go a little bit hard with the hands or try and thrash it a little bit too much because we know what a craftsman go. We've seen it for some time now. Vast experience, such a key element in opening the innings, whether it's for India or playing in the IPL, massively. So look, it only really takes one bit of an innings to stay around, go past 10, 20, 30, 40, and then you're into it. So he's really only one innings away from unleashing what we saw at the IPL this season gone and what he's very capable of.
Hope we get to see that inning very, very soon. And also, Danny, we have a special segment called Havells Glam Shot of the Match. Who do you think deserves the glam shot of the match?
Presenting breathtaking Glamtubes from Havells, designed to give you the best of glamour and brightness. Havells Glamtubes. Glamour isme khoob.
Wow, there's so many, isn't it? It's just like ridiculously difficult to do that. So wake up and go with Sky getting his 50 right at the end of that innings.
What do you think of this talent that India, he was actually there for such a long time, but he could make it to the international side quite recently. What do you think of this talent that India has produced?
Well, I'll tell you what, and I know you're a bit young, you won't remember this, but it's certain when you think about those two great Aussie twins, Steve Waugh and Mark Waugh. Mark Waugh couldn't get into the side, right? And it's a bit like Sky having to wait. Mark Waugh, in fact, scored, I think, over 10,000 first-class runs before he got into playing for Australia. Way back in 91, getting an opportunity, while Steve had been playing for the Aussies since that 85, 86 summer. So again, it's not a bad thing. I think all that experience and that time for Suryakumar Yadav to be playing in terms of IPL, first-class cricket in India, and then getting some smaller opportunities for India, but having to bide his time and wait, I think is bode well now. It's just showing what he's all about, and the confidence as he's got older, more experienced, is sort of shining through now.
So now we're done with India versus Netherlands, but we have to talk about the upcoming match where India would be taking on the mighty South African team. Who do you think can play such glam shots in the next match?
For the Indians?
Yeah.
No doubt the usual suspects. And I think, we say it a lot, and whether it's in franchise cricket or it's T20I, the internationals, really your top four have to get the bulk of the runs ideally. The top four doing their job, and there's a couple of partnerships going, then it allows, whether it's a Dinesh Karthik to finish or a Hardik to come in and smash a few, or if Rishabh Pant's suddenly, in the 11 playing, then you've got these sort of guys to come in and finish and be dynamic. And it just, again, it bodes well when you lay that platform. So again, I think like many others will have an expectation of either suddenly KL having that time in the middle and producing, whether it's Rohit again, if it's not Rohit, VK, and if Kohli misses out, you're going to definitely hope it's Suryakumar Yadav, to get in perhaps a bit with Hardik. And Hardik did that and had time, put on 100, didn't he, with VK against Pakistan at the MCG. So, everyone's been chipping in at different times. Kohli has been very consistent. And now you've got Sky going very well. So again, I think those usual suspects for me are paramount for India to do well.
Thank you, Danny, for joining us. So that was a special segment, Havells Glam Shot of the Match. Danny, given that South Africa won their last match against Bangladesh with a huge margin, what can we expect when they take on India?
Getting here and playing in Perth where it bounces and has good pace consistency. A bit like Melbourne. I mean, the guys were commentating there and then even saying against the Dutch, the pitch was a bit slower in Sydney compared to Melbourne. Now, Melbourne's a drop-in pitch like it is here in Western Australia at the Perth Stadium. So expect it to go through with pace and bounce. You think about Rabada and Nokia for South Africa, no doubt. Wayne Parnell with a bit of left arm angle and a bit of bounce. So they'll be tested, no doubt. But again, Yashi, if you get it wrong as a bowler, you can get absolutely smashed around the park because batters love it coming on, you can hit through the line and play your strokes. So look, it's going to be a good challenge, and I think it'll be probably a bit like, hopefully we're all saying, giving it that one. Let's hope it's a bit like the Pakistan game at the MCG, really tight, goes down to the wire, massive entertainment, and everyone a little bit on the edge of their seats going,
what is going to happen?
Got it. We love.
Danny, India played the same team against Pakistan and Netherlands and won both the matches. Do you think, is there any need for India to relook at its team composition, or they will go with the same playing 11?
Well, I think in Aussie conditions, Yashi, quite hard to change. And you'll see that, unless there's a bit of a niggle, and depending on the opposition in that. But I think now that you think about this knockout situation of T20 and a condensed World Cup tournament scenario, very difficult to change a winning side. And given that you think about Bhuvi, Mohammad Shami, Ashdeep, and Hardik. So those guys into the surface in there, and then you've got Ravi Ashwin with his experience, tall guy, bounce in Australia, and particularly bounce over here in Perth, then I think it's very difficult to change the side. So I'd expect them, given that they've won particularly these two back-to-back games and comprehensively against the Dutch, I can't see them changing that winning side.
So no Yuzvendra Chahal again in the third match?
Well, and then you look at all the other countries that have good spinners, and really some of them have been taken apart. And over here, Hasaranga, he got taken down by Marcus Stoinis, not really gripping and going. So again, very different conditions from the UAE 12 months ago, this T20 World Cup was on, and different again in the subcontinent where it does grip, is a bit slower, will go for the spinners. That's hard on Chahal because he's a class act, we know. But the balance of the side and fitting everyone in, you can probably, as I say, you've got Ashwin, because of his height and his guile and everything he's got going. I just can't see it.
And he helps with that also.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. I mean, therein lies that, and poor old Giles usually he's not quite that good as he compared to the all-round skills of Ashwin. So yeah, you've got to take all of that into account.
All right, Danny, both the teams are coming on the backdrop of wins. What is your prediction of this match?
I'd like South Africa to smash you.
Don't say that.
No, I mean, in all seriousness, jokes aside, I think hopefully, as I say, it's going to be a real nail-biter and go down to the last couple of balls. How about this, Yashi, on the show? Let's have a super over. What about that? We haven't had a super over yet.
Why not? Why not? We've been hoping to have a super over till now, but who wins the super over?
Yeah, exactly.
I'm not letting you go.
The Champagne Supernova Rover. Well, that's right. Can you imagine it coming to the guys that have been batting well? Let's say it's Sky and with Rowan or VK, and then Sky plays beautifully and just gets those wrists going and mooses it out of the ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd like to see that. I really would like to see a really tight contest. Two big guns going head to head. Aussie conditions, so again, very different for India, but India have been playing pretty well in them. And of course, South Africa, they like these conditions. They're quite similar to South Africa. So again, big challenge for both teams. Yeah, let's see.
Not really. Give me a name. I'm not letting you go without giving me a name.
Well, let's go with India because they're winning.
Thank you so much, Danny, for joining us on Havells Glamtubes presents Sportskeeda Match Ki Baat. It was really nice having you. Hope you have a great time commentating during the rest of the World Cup. See you guys soon.
And you too, Yashi.